League of Legends used to be one of my favorite pastimes back during high school. I've been an avid player since Season 2, and had done so all the way through Seasons 5 to 6. Back then, I felt like I could have had fun doing whatever I wanted. Toxicity aside, it was always a blast making new friends and queuing up together. Even when we lost doing the dumbest shit, I always had a great time. Eventually, I became more obsessed with wanting to play ranked. And as the years went on, my enjoyment for the game started to tank. It's true that playing those sorts of game modes can take a lot out of you, sure. But even playing casually, I just felt something slowly dwindle away from me. That sense of enjoyment and discovery quickly faded away. It was all about playing what was good and immediately surrendering in 20 minutes if things went wrong. I had quit the game for some bit and tried getting back in within the later seasons. I never felt dedicated towards the game ever again though. Teamfight Tactics was pretty fun, but that is a completely different game. It wasn't until recently that I found out about League's newest game mode, Arena. Coinciding with their Soul Fighters event, the game mode featured the gameplay I remember was 2v2v2v2 action. So I gave it a try. Then I did another round, and then another. This was the itch I missed. What got me back into League all those years ago is what brought me back again. But why did I enjoy this game mode so much? How was having a tag team any different than regular League? A lot actually. To summarize, champions and items were given adjustments to compensate. Stacking champions like Nasus and Veigar naturally gained more as the rounds progress. This helps to keep them relevant as the game goes on. One important difference is that you have no runes in this game mode. Instead, during certain rounds, you'll pick between 3 augments, with the maximum amount of 2 rerolls in the game. I'm always looking up build guides for champions when playing my regular games, so to already just pick whatever I want without worrying about runes is a very nice convenience. The ease of access for this game mode puts a lot of pressure away from you. You'll always be playing through the same selection of maps in each game, but some of these maps will have special conditions attached to them. One round you'll be avoiding the Fury and their pack, defeating a large set to fire off a good amount of damage, and so forth. One aspect of older League of Legends that I fell in love with was discovering new ways to enjoy champions. Nowadays, I feel as if most playstyles have already been figured out. Aside from new seasons and whatnot, experimentation becomes more of an afterthought. It may be just a me thing, but even with friends, I tend to go with what works. Whether or not it's a product of teammate reaction or wanting to win, none of that matters here. It's just you and the teammate, meaning you can combine synergies to see which matchups can decimate the opposing team. Because you instantly start at level 3, certain combinations will become available as soon as you start the game. But more than that is the fact that you will always get the full build. Every team will most likely survive towards that point. Gold is automatically accumulated after certain rounds, and since every lobby is different, you can always adjust accordingly. Like I said before, augments will also play a key role in creating a dynamic duo. Since you only have a maximum of 2 rerolls, you'll need to carefully assess your current choices. Augments come into 3 tiers: Silver, Gold, and Prismatic. With over 100 to choose from, every single game is never going to feel the same. And you know what else doesn't feel the same? This channel! In all seriousness, I've got new videos every 2 weeks. If you're interested in these sorts of videos, be sure to give those likes and subscriptions. In any case, let's get back to the video. On the foundation that you, yes, you, are intellectually and physically superior to your opponent. However, the problem? The problem is that you are a Zed mid laner trying to cook when your players are like this. And you know, how long does it take for you to get mid lane, by the way?
Bruh.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But here, you can play whoever you want. Is your teammate going to care? Maybe, probably not. They are too busy having fun carrying themselves. The sky is the limit. Now, as a clearly professional League of Legends player, I believe that the map design also plays a part in the enjoyment factor of Arena. Let's take a look at this map right here. This is Ancestral Woods. As you can see, the map has 2 small brushes in the center. There's only 1 power flower located at the center. Most of the conflict is going to be centered around there. In most other maps, there's generally at least 2 power flowers. Because of this, players will naturally be drawn towards fighting for the center position. Certain champions like Rengar love utilizing the brush, as such they might be more inclined to use their ultimate. However, as the game goes on, so too does the Ring of Flames. Or how about the Magma Chamber? This map starts off near an insane amount of brush with 2 power flowers on the top and bottom. Most players might gravitate towards engaging down here, or perhaps they'll try an ambush from above. Because there are 2 walls and several pillars blocking off certain paths, your movement is also somewhat restricted. You might honestly be tempted to use flash to avoid a really nasty spill. And it's this movement that is highly emphasized in Arena. The maps purposely restrict your movement in order to force you to engage in the fight. Otherwise, the moment-to-moment gameplay is going to look rather dull and slow. With numerous explosive plants and walls, you're being incentivized to take those actions. Your only other summoner spell, unless you picked an augment, is Flee, a spell that increases your movement speed by 40%, 20% extra for each enemy champion you're facing away from. Aside from the obvious defensive maneuvers, you can also use this spell offensively to close the distance. It's pretty obvious, but since this isn't a regular game mode, you won't be seeing any minions or jungle creeps. Does it matter that much? Well, there are certain champions that benefit from their presence. Nasus with his Q, Veigar with his ability to gain stacks, and Shyvana with her ability to gain armor magic resistance are among a few. As said before, these champions will naturally gain stacks as the game progresses, but the laning phase alongside jungling was a large amount of downtime between farming and action. League games generally last more than 25 minutes on average. With such a long amount of time dedicated to laning, one could even call it boring. Keep in mind that this is just a personal opinion. I'm sure plenty of you enjoy the laning phase. I'm not really sure, but please let me know below. Speaking of the laning phase, there's a certain type of champion, the lane bully, aka Darius. Having played a few games, I came to an understanding that these sorts of champions aren't the best picks for this mode. I'm sure there's been great levels of success, but I find that the issue is that they don't scale as well compared to other champions. Their existence works in Summoner's Rift due to the 5v5. They can solo push, gain an early gold lead, but here there is no lane, no minions. Everyone is on an equal footing. Scaling is king. You are king. You can achieve that 3000 plus ranking. So what are you waiting for? Get started now. You've got this. Hurry up and play some Arena today. I am not sponsored, by the way.